What's up? It's your one and only Green Wingman, Eagles Nation, brothers and sisters. I hope everybody's doing well over these last couple of days, out of these last couple of emotional days as an Eagles fan, as we just witnessed over Saturday that our Eagles will be now playing in the NFC Championship game against our opponent, the Vikings. I'm not going to touch on too much on the game. I'm just gonna get through a lot of the quick bullet points. One, Nick Foles, quarterback, looked very shaky, as I thought. As I kind of mentioned in my Twitter earlier on that Saturday and posted on places on Facebook. That I said I did predict that the team would come out very slow and very sluggish. I didn't predict them to come out as ugly as they did with the duck that Nick Foles threw. Luckily, that got a pass interference. um, and Jay Ajayi, who fumbled into the crucial ball that set up the Atlanta Falcons for getting 3 points on them. Other than that, as you see, going through the first quarter, Nick Foles did not look sharp. He missed a lot of open plays, missed that nice play to Trey Burton, which had a if he had hit it on stride, I think Trey Burton would have been able to sit down with a touchdown. And then once Doug Peterson saw what he was doing and was able to kind of sit down and evaluate, he was able to sit down and bring in a new, better play that brought him better pass option plays. That just said, okay, he's not going to be able to beat you vertically. So they were able to sit down and build on his strengths on that. And then soon as you can go, he got into rhythm. He was hitting all the wide receivers. He was hitting Douglas. He was not Douglas. He's hitting Alshon Jeffrey. He's hitting Nelson Aguilar. He's hitting and if Jay Ajayi had made that catch from the backfield, I think they would easily have gotten another first down. I think it would be like 3-10. I think it would easily been able to get the first down. So kudos to Doug Peterson for calling a fantastic game. And if you're an Eagles fan, this should now give us more confidence, more than ever, that the organization got him right. We doubted Doug P for a long period of time. I was a big doubter last year, and just the way that he handled things and the way that he didn't grow into his coaching. But this year, not only do you have a guy who has a fantastic ability to be able to create plays and try to figure out how to get his players open, that you really had a guy who is really good at mastering the clock. He made key challenges. That catch to Sanu that dropped the ball, who was able to throw the flag on it, to recognize it, and his staff and his team were able to pick up on those things a lot more quicker, and he's getting the correct information. And the defense going on with Jim Schwartz's defense, they were ready for everything that the Atlanta Falcons were about to throw into them. So at the end of the day, I think it's just incredible, man. How consistently well this team is coached to be able to handle any situations that happen to them this upcoming in this season. And as an Eagles fan, it just gives me so much confidence to now moving forward the next 4 or 5 years that we have a great we might possibly have a very good QB quarterback tandem that can probably get us to hopefully multiple Super Bowls down the road. But that's down in the future. Right now, let's talk about the present. So, after that game, and after I got my emotions settled, Sunday became the big game, our game. Whoever we're going to sit down and take on, and that's going to be between the Vikings and the Saints. And I bet as an Eagles fan out there who sat down and watched this game, I bet you guys were going back and forth, just like me. Okay, who do we sit down and match up better? And I'm thinking to myself, who do you see the matchup better? And I figured, even though if we come out of that Atlanta Falcons game, I figured whoever were to come out out of the Vikings or the Saints, I just didn't have really good confidence builder going into that final championship game. And sitting down watching the game, it was looking good at first. The Vikings were doing well, and then on the second half, Granted, the Vikings sat down and won that game. They pulled that game out of their butt. So congratulations to the Vikings out there. However, that being said, I'm so happy as an Eagles fan that we are taking on the Vikings only because I think we match up very good with. I think both teams are very identical between both the Vikings and the Eagles. But you do look at Case Keenum, and again, played has played very well. Very good quarterback. He's played very well for that team to step in a tough situation that he had. The fact that they lost both their both lose Sam Bradford in that game, and as well as Teddy Bridgewater. Case Keenum he's played in there. He's played with house money. So kudos to him. He has played very good for that squad. That being said, I like the matchup because I do feel that with Case Keenum, I think he will be susceptible to make more mistakes than taking on, say, a Hall of Famer quarterback Drew Brees and going up against Sean Payton. Although I would have liked to go up against Sean Payton, I think the comfort with Sean Payton is lately throughout the season he's just made some bad calls and some bad challenges. And again, it showed its ugly head in a very important game that they need to sit down and win. Even though they were able to put up 23 points within a minute, within a couple of minutes. But you know, it's good because right now between the two quarterbacks, you would have to say that Nick Foles does have the far better experience because he's only played in two. He's only played in two playoff games versus Case Keenum, who's only played in one. This is his first big game that he almost came up, and I really do like their matchup against a front four trying to beat that offensive line of the Vikings. The Vikings' offensive line for a while has been a little bit shaky at the moment. They lost a couple of key pieces in the game, so they haven't been really consistent at the moment. And as good as their defense is, right now everybody wants to sit there and praise their defense. Their defense has been good. Their defense is not that much more different than the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they were talking about. I was listening to ESPN. I think they rank and stop in teams of an average like 18.5 yards a game or 25. I mean, I think they're like 25% good on 3 point on stopping teams on third downs. But then you go and look at the Eagles stats. The Eagles are only like 3 points lower than the Vikings. So in retrospect, there's not that much of a big difference between two of the teams in terms of their defense and their ability to get at it. I think with Mike Zimmer's squad, I think it's very simple. I don't think it's anything really elaborate in terms of scheming and in terms of coverage. I think it's just we're going to have this defense and they just have talented people all around. Linebackers, safeties, their corners. They're just talented. But they're not scheme friendly. So it's a lot of man to man. I think it's going to be a lot more man to man, and then you just send a lot of the pressures, hopefully to get to the quarterback. And I really do think that the Eagles have enough better playmakers to be able to lower down that defense because if this defense was as legendary as good as they sat down to make it, they would have never allowed Drew Brees to get back into the game in the third quarter and dissect them and pull up 25 points very easily handed. So I think there is a lot of opportunity that the Eagles can look at this game, and I think there's chances that they can sit down and pressure Case Keenum. Case Keenum does have that tendency to have that Brett Favre-like, to be able to run out of pocket. And yes, it's very risky. He can make big plays like he did with that miracle play in the Vikings to Diggs that basically sealed them the game to go to the NFC Championship game, or he earlier in the game can show that he can throw a lollipop pass that is susceptible to a pick. I just think I think there's a lot of great opportunity for this defense to capitalize on the mistakes on Case Keenum and on that offense. Now, again, like I said, Nick didn't play any better in the first half of the game too. And again, like I said, he threw. Nick is just as acceptable. But I just think right now, I think the Eagles do have a better shot in terms of our personnel. I think we do have the better quarterback tandem, with the ability that we have some quarterbacks back in the side with Dean Filippo and the coaches. I really think we do have a slight edge. I'm not giving us a grand bigger edge, but I do feel as an Eagles fan that we do have a slight better edge against the Minnesota Vikings. I really, really do. Now again, I think this is going to be a far lower scoring game, just like it was with Atlanta Falcons. And I think right now that this is the weather is going to be around like 51 degrees. It's going to dip into the 40s. But with how weather has been acting, that could change dramatically. Like I think last for that Saturday game was originally supposed to be 50 degrees, and then minute after that it changed to 40 to 30 with high gusts of winds. So the weather can change very drastically within the next couple of days, depending on how the forecast is. I think we're even expected to have snow probably tomorrow, if anything, God forbid. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, looking at the whole situation, I think the Eagles, in my opinion, have a shot. I think they definitely have a shot to go to the big dance and hopefully play in the Super Bowl. Now, if they do get into the Super Bowl again, it's 50-50. It's probably going to be Tom Brady. As much as I'd like the Jacksonville Jaguars to come away from that, um, you have to remember Jacksonville did allow 42 points to be dropped on them in the second half against the Steelers. I mean, if you're going to preach to being the number one good defense, you just don't allow that to happen. And now you're acceptable to go into New England with the greatest quarterback and the greatest coach. They're looking at that. They're probably sitting there having their tea, their biscuits, their crumpets, their clam chowder, whatever they do in New England, and just probably looking at that and saying, "Hey, we're ready to sick the hell out of that defense and go to the Super Bowl." So, as much as I would love to, and then again, it's Blake Bortles that has to try to outdo Tom Brady. So I'm not really confident in that game. Again, I am pulling for the Jags, but I'm not confident in that game. So yeah. That being said, I mean that's my stuff. That's my opinions on all the games that we sat down and then we mentioned. Like I said, I would like to get your opinions down below. Yeah, tell me what you think about this. Do you think the Eagles match very good with the Vikings? Do you think the Eagles have a very good shot in beating the Vikings and going to hopefully a Super Bowl game? I will let you know down below. Again, check my Twitter page on with Green Wingman and Eagles brothers and sisters. Man, fly Eagles fly. You guys have a great